I'm Jane Hall, and I represent District 4. Now, District 4 is the largest landmass district of all the council districts. We all have about the same number, proportionate number of citizens in the districts. But because I have the southern end of Spartanburg County and the perimeter pretty much, I have a lot of rural area. So I go actually from Glendale and Packlet to Glen Springs and Pauline, to Cross Anchor, to Inner to Woodruff, to Reedville, to Abner Creek on the left side of 101 going up, which encompasses Pelham and also BMW, and on up into East Greer. And one of the projects that we hope will be closing soon has been the cleanup of the Victor Mill area in East Greer. And that was something that after about 14 years we were able to actually put things together, do a study, find out the impact on the environment there, and then this council was the one who decided to invest in the cleanup, and so we have done so. I can remember when I first was in that area and I looked at the Victor Mill, which has such a rich history. My grandparents, one set worked at the Pacific Mills in Lyman, and one set worked in Startex Mill. So, you know, I'm from a mill-oriented family, and when I saw Victor Mill for the first time, it actually looked like a World War II England bombing site. And to sit down and talk with the residents and hear how dejected they were and how over the years they had been promised and promised and promised. And when I came to them and I said, well, I think we might can do something this time, no, seeing is believing. So we actually had to prove to them that we were serious about the cleanup. Now, why was that so important? Because it's in Greer. Well, the thing about Spartanburg County is that there is a certain area of Spartanburg County that is in the municipality of Greer. And because of the way Greer is growing, this could be a great economic investment for Spartanburg County in the future. And that's, I think we'll get our payback on our investment at least 2- or 3-fold. So that was one of the reasons to do it. The other is because the citizens wanted it. And we are a citizen government. You know, the reason I'm standing here is because my husband came up to me one day after I'd been retired for 2 years, and I retired at age 53. I'm very proud of that. And he said, you gotta do something. You gotta do something with your time. And so he said, why don't you sit in on the county council meetings and see what you think? So for 1.5 years, I came to every county council meeting. And when it was time, I said, you know, I think maybe I can offer something. And so as the good Lord would have it, I ran and did get elected by a small margin, but hey, 1 vote is all you need. So if I can do it, you can do it. If I can put myself out there are so many commissions, there's so many boards in which you can get involved with, whether you start on the school board level or look on our website and see what commissions and boards are coming available and see if there's something that you can offer that. Get involved in your local government. It's very important. You are the ones that decide which route this government goes. And we want to hear from you. So by all means, I want you to do that. Another thing that I found is in my Woodruff area, since Spartanburg Regional had closed down the B.J. Workman Hospital, we had a lot of people very upset about that, and to this day they're still very upset, very raw nerves when you talk about health care. But Woodruff has continued to keep its population just as it was or more each year, each passing year since the hospital was closed. And one of the big things was that where this community had had 18 practicing physicians. They were down to 2.5, some days 3, but for the same population. Which I had DHEC come in and do an analysis, and also the Initiative on Rural Health, and they came into the Woodruff area and looked at the population and the physician offerings there, and found out that whereas a physician to patient ratio should be 1 to 1,500 patients, which to me sounds like a lot too, the ratio in Woodruff was actually 1 physician to every 8,000. So there was absolutely no way that those physicians were reaching and taking care of the needs of the population. Plus, when you think about where Woodruff and Inaree and the lower part of Spartanburg County is located, you realize that it was a trek to get to a physician. Even when Spartanburg Regional built the Pelham Hospital, it actually takes longer to go from Woodruff to the Pelham Hospital than it did to come into town to Spartanburg Regional downtown or to Mary Black. But it was still going to be a trek of about 30 minutes. So we looked and tried to figure out what we could do, and when I polled the residents of that area, they said, we want something that's after hours, because Woodruff has become what we know as a bedroom community. That means that most of the people who live in the Woodruff area work somewhere else. So by the time they get home at 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon or the evening, Grandma has been sick all day and she needs some help, or, you know, little Johnny has fallen and his arm's like this, and, you know, hey, maybe we need to take it and see what's wrong with it. And there was no place to go except to trek all the way back into the city. So I started looking, and we were able to find the urgent care centers, and they have since come in. They are operating full force. They offer 7-day-a-week service to the community. They're open until 8 o'clock at night. They have times on the weekends that they're open. So that's the beginning of delivery of service down there. Now, why was that important? It was important to the people. And that's what I try to do, is I try to listen to you guys, find out what your needs are, and is it something that government needs to get involved with and do, or can government be the facilitator? Urgent care center down there is a totally private endeavor. I have nothing to do with it. County council has nothing to do with it. But I was able to facilitate the change, and sometimes that's what your elected officials do, is they facilitate change. They don't necessarily be the ones that do it, but they kind of get together, the private sector and the public sector, and work together to see what can be done for its citizens. So those are two of the major projects I've done, along with working very closely with the Sheriff's Department with some problem areas that we've had in Walnut Grove and down in Inaree. And I always get asked the same question about road fees. And I can honestly say, I wasn't here then. These guys were here. I wasn't here. But no, as we have gone through that process, I think one of the things that we realize is that the reason the Spartanburg County roads and bridges are so well maintained is because of our road fee tax. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get out on a state DOT road and find potholes and problems. But when we have, if you were to call me and say, Jane, road so-and-so has a big pothole, it's causing a lot of problems, then we would look into it. And if it was a Spartanburg County road, chances are it would be placed on the list to get fixed as soon as possible. So, you know, that's what we do. We help facilitate some of the departments that we have here, and we're the eyes and ears for those departments, because they can't patrol everything all the time. But we can kind of give them some little heads up on some problem areas. So that's another thing that we do. And I'm sure there's so many other things that these guys will talk about, but I'll let them talk about that. Do you have any questions for me? Wow.
I know you, I don't need to ask no questions.
I don't know if that's good or if that's bad, so, but I will accept that and thank you.
How long have you been on the county council?
I was elected in November of 2008 and started serving in 2009, so this is my first term. I do plan on running for a second term just in case anybody wants to know.
I got a quick question, but maybe one or all of you. This reapportionment that y'all are going through, how has it affected each one of these counties?
The districts, the county districts.
Who gained voters, who lost voters, roughly?
My district was about 494 people over. And with having to give a little bit to David's area, it's really funny how things worked. Everything just kind of shifted. I did not really lose very much of my district at all. Some of it, a little bit of Glendale went to David. But as far as me, I was okay. Now I will tell you that just as Roger started out and was speaking, I have 4 school districts, and I have 4 school superintendents that I report to. I have District 3, I have District 4, which is Woodruff, I have District 6, which is Dorman, and I also have District 5. So I have 4 school districts that I'm talking with the superintendents quite often about things, and plan on going to a luncheon at School District 3 tomorrow, as a matter of fact. But, you know, and I will still keep those districts, but as far as, I guess, who is the biggest one that changed?
O'Neill probably lost more than anyone. He had more growth.
O'Neill, yeah. O'Neill Mitz, who is not here, has the Boiling Springs area. And we know the rapid growth there, so he probably lost some. And then, I think, Dale, you might have picked some up, and
Michael and I picked a good bit up.
yeah. So.
We lost, I don't know, I think, we were behind O'Neill in growth, District 5. I think we lost about 3,000 people.
Okay. But I stayed pretty much the same. You know, I was less than 500 difference with me, so I've kept pretty much all of my people. And I do my best to get out into my communities as often as I can. And I'm sure these guys would also agree that if you ever have any church groups or social groups, or you just have a neighborhood who wants us to come and talk with you about issues, give us a call. One of the greatest things that's happened in our county in the last couple of weeks was when David Britt took the initiative to contact the sheriff's office about some home invasions that had been going on. And he had a presentation here in county council chambers, what, 2 weeks ago now?
Yep. Last week, actually, last week.
The place was packed. Matter of fact, we had people sitting up in the council chamber area and even people outside, because that is an issue the community needs to know about, is concerned about. In my district, if there are people who want us to get together and do the same thing, I will do that. So, you know, we can do these things, but you guys have to let us know what you need.
So if you want one of you, I want you guys, you all choose the place where you meet.
Well, sometimes you guys choose the place.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather do for Woodruff and Inaree somewhere down there. I mean, because more people are going to come into the area. I use the fire department down in Inaree a lot. Woodruff has just redone their town